What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be working on the blue 180cc Slowracer build today. I know a lot of you guys like that bike, so you'll probably be excited to see that thing getting worked on or getting some new upgrades. But we got a nice Elka rear shock in for it today. Ultimately, I wanted to put this on the BBR bike because there was nothing wrong with the shock on the blue Slowracer, but the way the piggyback is, you see how it's like comes straight out, doesn't really drop down. You'll see what I mean in a second. Actually, you can probably see, you see on the D&M shock how the piggyback reservoir drops down. This one doesn't do that, so it won't fit on that bike without like modifying the subframe, which I'm not going to be willing to do. So what we're going to do today is take the shock off the blue Slowracer, and we're going to swap that onto the MM12P, and then we'll be upgrading the D&M shock from the blue Slowracer to this thing. So we'll see. I always tell you guys I've really never had a problem with the D&M shocks that I run these bikes until this one here. So this is what I'm talking about, how it drops down, if you didn't get to see that there. So I'd have to like cut the subframe out if I wanted it to fit, which obviously I don't want to do that. It wouldn't fit right there, so otherwise I'd be putting the Elka on this bike. But so I had this shock, and the spanner nut that connects into the cartridge ended up coming off. So what I had to do was send it out to someone to have it fixed, but he said he can make it feel better than the Elka if I was able to give him enough shims, because I had an extra one of these shocks. So I took the whole thing apart, essentially destroyed one shock to try to make one good shock, and then in the end this shock just never worked out for whatever reason. I got it back from the guy, and it just felt like a pogo stick after the first race, and then I sent it out again to him, got it back, it didn't feel good, and then sent it one more time and did it again. I said, the hell with it, I'm not putting no more money into this. I originally bought the shock for like $194. Nowadays the same shock is like $300. They went up in price, but I paid like $350 or $300 to have it revalved and, you know, done over, and it just never worked out. So I'm like, the hell with it. I ended up finding this Elka shock in really good condition, and these shocks you can't get anymore. To find this one in this good a condition for around $400, couldn't beat it. So what we'll do today is, so like I was gonna say, I saved myself, I basically paid $100 more for this shock than I would had to have paid to replace this one. So I think it made sense. I'll just throw the shock in this bike, which is nothing wrong with it, onto the BBR bike, and then ultimately the Slowracer will get an upgraded rear shock. And I'm excited to see how it feels. I never had a problem with the D&M shocks up until that one there, but if the Elka shock feels any better than this already does now, then I'll be pumped, and I'll let you guys know for sure, because I don't believe in spending any more money than necessary on certain things. That's why like I run the Elka shock, the D&M shocks, because I have an Elka shock on the LXR and it feels great and everything, but I'm sure it's not going to feel much different than the D&M shock, but we'll find out for ourselves. I just pulled the shock off from the BBR bike. Is like a better comparison. So they're both, they're both nice shocks. Both got the billet. They're pretty much the same. I'm sure this thing was built after the Elka. Usually the China companies knock off the better companies, but I threw the Shockwares cover on there. So next video you're going to see, we're going to start getting into this build. So anyone who's new to the channel doesn't know this bike, this is the BBR MM12P build with the Daytona 190 in it. I'm probably going to do, I already have the 212cc big bore kit for this engine. We're going to do a build video on doing that on this motor, and then we're also going to break down this whole bike right down to the frame. It's going to be sent out to BBR Motorsports to have the frame reinforced for the Daytona 190 engine. Not sure if you can see there, but there's a little hairline crack right there that started. So I was going pretty big last season. If you've seen some of my videos, I was hitting a pretty big, like I think it's like between 80 and 90 foot double on this bike, and obviously the motor just wanted to do the ejecto cuz right out the front, cracked the frame. So we're going to send it out to BBR, but we'll get started on this build in the next video. Alright, ended up tossing the Slowracer shock on the BBR bike real quick. Swapped over the Elka shock onto here. I still got to take it off the stand and then compress the suspension, and then I'll tighten the top and bottom bolt, and then we can see how it feels. The only other thing I noticed is I have the OEM Crf70, the mud shield or whatever you want to call it, this piece right here. I'm gonna have to mock it up and cut it out a little bit, because remember how I was saying before, this tire actually hit the other piggyback because the D&M shock drops a little bit lower. It probably sits like down here. So let's see if I can do this. Ready? So this piece is gonna have to sit up in here like so. But problem is, it's gonna hit right there. So let's see exactly where it did pretty good lining it up there. It's actually pretty much centered, so I'll probably cut it out just a little bit like that, and then I'll have enough room to put this piece. Actually, I could probably just fit it like this, but I want it to fit down a little bit lower over it. So yeah, I'll cut it out just a little bit and we'll see how that looks. There it is. Perfect. Like a glove. There's a little bit back there. I tried to keep it as close as I could. Keep all the dirt out. That'll do. Pop this baby off the stand, see how it feels. Well, unfortunately, guys, I had to take the Elka shock off. Turned out the person that sold it to me didn't know what they were talking about, or just completely lied to me, because the thing does not feel good in there. I literally just stopped recording, guys. I was so pissed. I can't believe it. Like, you ask people, I asked the kid, is the shock mint? It works fine. He's like, yep. I pay him top dollar for the thing, $400, and then it ends up feeling like a pogo stick and was making some sort of noise. Unfortunately, probably gonna have to buy another D&M shock for now, unless I find, I don't want to buy another used shock off of somebody. I don't trust people anymore, but sorry about that, guys. So for now, this is all we're gonna have for this video. I'm gonna have to figure out what's the next move. Obviously the bike's fine right now. It doesn't need a shock. Like I was saying, the plan was to put the shock from here into there and then have a better shock in the Slowracer, but that didn't work out. So try to get him on the next one. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and see what happens once I hear from the kid. Hopefully he makes it right.